Hamas has called for implementation of the second phase of the ceasefire agreement with Israel, which began on January the 19th. Hamas criticized the American proposal for a truce until mid-April, which was approved by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, viewing it as an evidence that Israel is backing out of its commitments. Hamas emphasized that the only way to achieve regional stability and the release of detainees is through completing the agreement, which includes permanent ceasefire negotiations, full withdrawal, and reconstruction and detainee release. The Israeli Prime Minister's office has confirmed its approval of the U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff proposal for a temporary truce in Gaza during Ramadan. The proposal includes releasing half of the living and deceased detainees on the first day. However, Hamas continues to reject it. This comes as Israel reserves the right to resume fighting if negotiations are deemed deceptive. Additionally, reports indicate that Israel has decided not to resume the war in Gaza in the coming days, allowing space for negotiations. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has announced the signing of a declaration to expedite $4 billion in military aid to Israel. According to Rubio's statement, the Trump administration approved $12 billion in arms sales to Israel. He emphasized that the U.S. would continue using all available tools to support Israel's security. The United States Department also approved the potential sales of bombs, explosives, and other weapons worth $3 billion to Israel. These sales were fast-tracked without the usual congressional review process. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has announced an immediate halt to the entry of goods and humanitarian aid into Gaza, effective today. According to Israeli media reports, the Israeli army has been instructed to shut down all border crossings into the enclave. Additionally, the Israeli government has approved the possible call-up of 400,000 reserve soldiers, a move coordinated with the United States. This development signals a potential escalation in the conflict, raising concerns over the humanitarian situation in Gaza. Later, Hamas has condemned Netanyahu's decision to halt humanitarian aid, calling it cheap blackmail, a war crime, and a clear violation of the ceasefire agreement. Hamas also calls on the United States to cease supporting Netanyahu's plans. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati has called for stabilizing the current truce in Gaza as a step towards a permanent ceasefire, stressing the urgency of ending the humanitarian crisis affecting millions in the enclave. Speaking at a joint press conference with Palestinian Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Mohammed Mustafa, Abdulati confirmed that Egypt's Gaza's reconstruction plan will be presented to the Arab foreign ministers on Monday, ahead of its official submission to the Arab League summit on Tuesday. Egypt has been actively engaged in diplomatic efforts to de-escalate the conflict, facilitate humanitarian aid, and push for a political resolution to the crisis. King Abdullah II of Jordan has stressed the importance of rebuilding Gaza without displacing its people and ensuring a stable ceasefire. In a phone call with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, the two leaders discussed regional developments and global efforts to resolve the crisis. Jordan's king emphasized intensified international humanitarian efforts and warned against rising tensions in the West Bank, urging meaningful political action for a just, comprehensive peace. Egypt has strongly rejected any attempt to threaten Sudan's unity, sovereignty, or territorial integrity, including efforts to form a parallel Sudanese government, warning that such moves would further complicate the crisis and hinder ongoing political reconciliation efforts. In an official statement issued by the Foreign Ministry on Sunday, Egypt stressed that the formation of a rival government would worsen Sudan's humanitarian crisis and obstruct efforts to unify political factions. The statement also called on all Sudanese parties to make a priority the national interest and engage positively and inclusively in a political process aimed at ending the conflict without foreign interference.